Hey guys, welcome to a new video of JVDM Sport. Today we're going to talk about coordination exercises with a basketball and a tennis ball. But first of all, sorry for the voiceover. I had to do this because of issues with volume and sound around us during filming. As you can see, I'm going to use a basketball and two tennis balls in this case for the first exercises. After that, one basketball and one tennis ball. Me and Nelly are going to start off together, and we're going to start off with throwing a ball to each other, but we're going to throw it with a little bounce on the floor, so it's easier, so you can actually see where the ball is going, and that way you can easily throw the ball towards each other and catch it just like that. So throw it on the floor, make it bounce, and you can also throw it to the right or to the left of the other, so he has a little bit more difficulty of catching it, or throw it a little bit higher or lower so that he get more difficulties with catching it. Okay, from here on out we go to the next one, and that's without the bounce. So you're just going to throw it straight forward towards each other. So just straight forward to each other, no crazy things, just throwing over the ball. And after that, when it's getting easy, you can, throw it to the right, to the left. You can throw it up or low, and that way you can make it harder for the other to actually catch it. Okay, from here on out, we're going to start with an exercise to improve the punch for real. So this was for coordination of your hands and see what you will do and how you react on something. Now we're going to throw it just like a punch as well. So you're going to train your punch at the same time. First of all, we're going to start on the ground again with one hand. So you throw it on the ground just like as if you make a punch movement. So forward, just like a punch movement to the ground, and throw it left, right again. You can make it harder just as before and try to catch it with one hand. So throw it and catch it with one hand. From here on out, we go to the next exercise and we just throw it without a bounce. So we're going to throw the ball just like a punch towards each other without any bounce anymore. So it's getting harder because it's coming straight at you. Just like that, we throw the ball without a bounce, and you can actually throw it to the left or right again, or a little bit up, a little bit low. You can actually make different angles again to make it harder for the other person to catch. Challenge each other really good here with this duo training, because you actually help each other for getting better coordination with your hands and how to react on things. So the ball is coming up against you, that's like a punch coming towards you, and throwing the ball is like actually giving a punch. Now we continue with the tennis ball. Same exercise as before with the one hand, just throw it on the ground, bounce it, throw it to the other person, just like that. So throw it on the ground, bounce it, throw it to the other person, and make it difficult for the other by going left or right, upper or lower. You can actually choose which way you want to go. You can go different directions this way, and therefore train the other to react on different kind of versions of attacks. So now we're going to start just like a punch again, just straight out forward punch, throw it forward just like a straight punch, and make sure that you catch it, or at least try to catch it with one hand. You may also use two hands, but try to catch it with one hand to make it even more like a reaction exercise as well, and train your real reflexes there. As you can see, it's not always as easy to catch it. You can always drop it. It's a pretty tiny ball, so sometimes hard to catch as well. But try to challenge each other by throwing harder, faster, or side by side. Now Nelly will drop, the next exercise we will do, Nelly will drop the ball, and you let the ball bounce on the ground so you have time to see where it is, and then try to grab it just like a punch movement, going forward and backward again to your defense. So you go forward and backwards again. There you go. Forward and backward, and throw the ball back to the other person. Just like that, easy going. It falls on the ground, it bounces, and you catch. And then after that, you stop letting the ball bounce first. So you actually catch it in mid-air, just like a punch. Straight forward again, boom, and pull back, just like your defense and your guard. So straight forward, pull back, just like your defense and guard. You can also change your hand, so try it with left instead of right. It's always more difficult to do it with the hand that is less strong. So my right hand is pretty good, but my left hand is less strong than my right hand, so It's always harder, but you can choose, of course, to go right or left or switch. So the first time right, second time left, then right again, then left again, so you can change all the time as well. That way you can actually make it harder for yourself, or you can use, of course, two balls and the other person can decide which one you throw. So that way you can also make it more difficult. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is we grab either the basketball or the tennis ball. You can choose. The tennis ball is a little bit harder than the basketball. You just start dribbling on your place, on your spot where you're standing. Use both hands first, so you can actually choose which hand you want. If it's getting hard for one hand, you can always go to the other hand. So use both hands or one hand, and then eventually when it gets easy, use the tennis ball. And if if it's getting easy with the two hands, try to use only one hand, and you make sure that you don't use the other hand, but only that one hand. Keep on going with one hand. Then you can start moving forward, backward, side step, forward, backward. This is a good exercise to keep you focused and make your focus sharper than it was before. Also, you can keep on practicing your stance for boxing, and in the meantime, with the tennis ball, you're training your coordination and reflexes as well. Just like that. Okay, the next exercise that we're going to do is one person is going to use the tennis ball and the other person is trying to catch it. So he's dribbling with the tennis ball and eventually I try to steal it from him and walk away from him. So we already did the movement with it. So now you can actually move and try to steal the ball by doing that. As you can see, you can make it really hard for the other. It's sometimes hard to catch away from another, but really make it a challenge for the other person. So for example, move left, move right, move all the sides that you can, turn around so the other person cannot catch the ball. So if you are at home, for example with children or just with a partner and want to train your reflexes and coordination, use these exercises and they will really improve your coordination and reflexes for sports and for the boxing. Okay, so now we've done trainings with duos. Now we're going to continue with solo training, because you also can do these exercises, or at least some exercises, with a wall as well instead of a partner. So you're going to use a different kind of tools like the tennis ball, the basketball, but also some papers with numbers on it, and you can actually use them for getting better coordination as a one person as well. So we start at the wall by throwing the same way as we did before with the duo. Just like that, you see, just throwing at the wall with two hands, easy going. From there on, we go to the one hand throw, just like we did before as well. So with one hand, just throwing straight forward, nothing special, just straight forward, as we did before as well, just like the punch. So make sure that you make the punch movement while you throw. From here on out, we go to the next exercise. We're gonna do a different exercise, and that is we're gonna follow the numbers on the wall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so on. Make sure that you don't put the numbers in a row from 1 till 10, but make different places where you put them, so you make it actually harder for yourself. You can also ask if someone else is there as well. Ask that person to make, for example, something to calculate, like 1 plus 1 is 2, and then you have to throw at 2. 3 plus 5 is 8, then you'd have to throw at 8. Just like that, you can actually make it harder for yourself as well. Okay, and then we continue with the tennis ball. So we did it with the basketball, now we do it with the tennis ball as well. Make sure that you punch, and then we go to the numbers. So you just punched out, and now you continue the same exercise as before with the tennis ball, but with the numbers. So make sure that you get every number, and if you're done one way, you can always go backwards as well. So you go 1 till 10, and then 10 till 1. Or as I said, do something like 1 plus 1 is 2, or 2 plus 3 is 5, or 3 plus 5 is 8. That way you can make it harder as well. So these are some exercises that you can use for coordination and reflexes of your training. I want to thank Nelly for his effort today. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video, and I'll see you next time in the next video of JVDM Sport.